ladies, why don't you just start by introducing each other so that you can be familiar with each other at least while we're waiting for people to join us.
Hi.
Hi. Ellie, you can start if you like.
Well, I'm Ellie. I'm in Adelaide, and I'm a foster carer, so I've got one long-term child living with me, but I have other children coming and going, so I thought this would be an interesting conversation to have to just sort of see what I can pick up and hear what everyone else is going through, and yeah, I'm sure I'm not alone.
Fantastic. How old's your current person that you're taking care of?
11. So a little bit younger than perhaps.
Tween, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's okay. And boy or girl?
He's a boy.
Boy. And any issues that you're dealing with at the moment?
I actually can't really speak too much because he's probably in earshot.
Hello.
Yep.
I'm sure it's none of it's a secret or a surprise.
No, that's true. But I'm sure I'll chat more later.
So can he hear everything we're talking about?
Probably not at the moment, but
maybe put headphones on.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And Lisa, how about yourself?
I've got 3. I have 2 16-year-olds and an 18-year-old.
Wowza.
They're also next door. But I have headphones. They can't hear you, but they can hear me.
Okay. Well, because we're going to be doing some activities in a bit, which will require you, well, hopefully one of you to be my volunteer. So It's up to you whether, who likes to be the volunteer. But you've been through it. So you've had twins, have you?
No, blended family.
Ah, right. I was going to say, wowza. Yes. And what kind of, can I ask what kind of issues you're dealing with at the moment?
So one in particular is 16, and he just is trying to be very independent, excessively independent. So that's a little bit of a new world. So really pushing back, really pushing back, and really sort of the authority is a bit of a, challenge for him.
Interesting. Well, it's I'm going to be talking a little bit about that in a moment, about that through teenagehood. Excuse me. It's quite cold here in Adelaide. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but it's quite cold here. But yeah, that's definitely a part of what I'll be talking about tonight. Mm-hmm. And GM, what's your full name, GM?
Oh, it's the longest name in the country. It's Ulzabeen Mohammed.
What's your nickname?
G.
G. And do you have, what's the age of your children?
My kids aren't there yet, but this is more for work that I'm doing this, wanting to get insight into the parents' life and also, just the real world, I guess. I have a 5-year-old, so who, in all reality is like a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Very, very Chanel, very savvy. But yes.
And what's your work, G?
I'm a clinician.
Are you?
Yeah.
Like a psychologist?
Yes. I'm based at a school. I historically worked with younger populations, but now I'm thrown in this world of teenagers, and I'd love to hear, the parents' experience, just so we can make it work better for the students in working holistically.
So interesting, because that's something that I need to admit that straight up, is that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counsellor, I am a coach, I'm a youth coach, and so you'll probably have some insights that I don't have, and I'll have some that you don't have, and vice versa. So it will be interesting to hear any, feel free to share any of your input, because I'm certainly not a what is that, clinic? What did you call yourself?
I say clinician because I think when you say psychologist, instantly people are like,
she's psychoanalyzing me.
Not unless you're paying in my account right now.
Not at all.
5-year-old may come in, so I may need to go to put her to bed, but I'm trying to get her to put herself to bed. We'll see how we go.
Okay, well, I'm recording tonight as well, so if you need to watch it later, I'll be sending an email to everyone that's registered, so you'll get a copy of that
Thank you.
if you need to. Hello, Angelita.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And can I ask you, what's the age of your kids?
13 going on 14, so just the one girl.
And any issues that you'd like to bring up with us tonight?
Oh, I think, just delving into teenage girlhood thing now. So, like I think, becoming more independent and technology, I guess.
Yes. And where are you based?
Oh, Melbourne.
You're in Melbourne.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. And Michelle, hello. You can unmute yourself if you like and share your video.
Yeah, I was just doing it. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Where are you based, Michelle?
I'm in Melbourne as well.
Melbourne, okay.
Yeah.
And how old's your kids?
I have a 13-year-old boy and a 20-year-old stepdaughter. And I was actually in another Zoom before because we have remembering my stepson who just passed away from the car accident.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we bit of, with this lockdown in Melbourne and this, morning, and then I have this 13-year-old boy that is still angry about the situation.
Of course.
And just trying to help him out with
Oh, that's very tough for everyone involved. That's absolutely, I'm so sorry to hear that. Now, is that your TV in the background that I can hear, or someone's got TV on in the background?
Yeah, we got another Zoom. It's not finished yet.
Sorry.
I have to get out. So.
I like your little headband as well. That's very cute.
Thank you. I just moved to another room so we're done. Yeah.
Okay, darling. Thank you. Yeah. Hello, Inez. Is it Inez? Hello.
Can you just come and quickly help me with this Zoom thing? I can't get off it.
Who said that?
Oh, I think they might have just heard me. So I can't get off that.
Hello, Inez. Where are you from?
I'm in Melbourne.
You're in Melbourne?
Yes.
And what's the age of your kids?
I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old.
10-year-old and 12-year-old?
Yeah.
And
Ask Ella to come down quickly.
And any issues that you'd like to share with us here?
Yes, my 12-year-old has started year 7 this year and she is refusing to attend school.
Oh, goodness. What's the reasons for that?
She's also on the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so she's asserting her independence?
Could say that, yes.
Defiance.
Yes.
And what are you doing to support yourselves in that?
We've spoken to the wellbeing team at the school. She has up until fairly recently had fairly regular psychology appointments, but she's lately refused to attend those. I'm trying to get a paediatrician appointment as well, but that's not till 2 months away. So she's got a few issues happening. Yep.
Oh, that sounds very difficult for you as the parent as well. I feel for you, and welcome, and hopefully there'll be something that you can learn tonight. I'm not sure what will resonate or what can work, but you can just try and apply any of the skills that I'm going to be teaching tonight. But you'll have to let me know how it goes. That's a very extreme case of defiance right there, though.
Yeah.
And
anxiety issues. Yeah.
Oh, well, there's been so much happening just in this year, with the bushfires and then with COVID and all the rest.
Yes.
It's been a stressful year for all of us, let alone young people who are still learning how to cope with all of that. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Al Hambley, hello. I'm going to unmute you.
So, sorry, I was just having a few problems with my Zoom setup.
That's okay. Welcome. Where are you calling from?
From Ringwood in England.
Are you calling in from England?
Yeah.
Goodness! I didn't know that my Facebook ads went that far.
Well, yeah, it came through on an Eventbrite thing. Actually, I'm not quite sure, but anyway, it looked very interesting. So
welcome. That's so cool.
Thank you.
And, what's the age of your kids, please?
12 and 14.
12 and 14. And any issues that you're currently dealing with, just so we can all be on the same page of.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry because I haven't heard what everyone else has said, but probably just normal teenage issues in terms of social media, friendship, self-esteem, that kind of thing.
Because are you guys in lockdown over there? How's it all going over there?
Yeah, we're coming out of lockdown now, but I think it has been a little bit trying, as it has for everybody, particularly from point of view of maintaining relationships as a teenager, and then the social media aspect to it. Yes.
Well, I'm going to touch on a couple of those points because I think, we all need to understand what's been happening, and then I'll go into some kind of actual skills that I use with my participants in my programs as coaching skills. Hopefully you can apply those with your teens and improve connections and communication with your teens. So you'll have to let me know how it all goes. And so I'll get started in a minute. Kelly, have we heard from you? Kelly Jones, hello? I've got a blank wall there. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen, everyone. And as everyone's so familiar with Zoom these days, but I'll just quickly, give you some etiquette. If you don't mind just muting yourselves. If you've got any questions, put your hand up or write a message in the chat or just unmute yourself and say, hey, Genevieve, and I'll let you know, if that's a good time to answer the question or if I'm going to be answering that later on. Is that okay with everybody? Plus, I am recording. Is that okay with everyone? If you don't like to be recorded, just sort of take your video off yourself. But I'll only be sharing it with you guys, if that's all right. And the people that have registered. So I got about 22 people registered. So not everyone's is on, but they'll get a link of the video. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, and make that full screen. Is that okay with everyone? Can you give me some thumbs up? Great. Yeah, I'll require you, I'll every now and again be asking for people to participate and share and things like that. So this is not just me going blah, blah, blah to you all. I do require a bit of interaction, please. So welcome everyone. My name is Genevieve Hodge and I'm the founder of Spire Coaching. It's a social enterprise developing young people to feel clear about their future. And tonight we're going to do some interactive coaching, which I'll be sort of running with you guys. I'll actually use you, and that's what then you can then be applying to your teens. So before we get started, I thought you just might want to hear a little bit about me and my story, because it's always interesting to hear where people have come from. So 3 facts about me. I'm a global adventurer junkie, although it's a bit difficult at the moment with the whole COVID thing and all the rest. But previously to having kids, I travelled to over 60 countries. I've lived in 5, including Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and on board a cruise ship. And it was in Rio that I had an epiphany. And because I used to work in 5-star hospitality, I realised that with all the social issues and the problems going on in Brazil, that I realised that I didn't need to be of service in hospitality. I could be of service in another way, which would be in education. And that was a big turning point in my life, living there in Rio and having that sort of awakening. And I moved back to Australia, to Melbourne, and I did a master's degree in education, specialising in leadership. And sorry, I could just see people are coming on. Hello, welcome if you've just joined us. And Yeah, so I did a master's degree in education and a postgraduate certificate of coaching. And I then got a dream job in Curtin University in Perth, Western Australia. And that's where I found my ikigai. Now, that's what that funny image is on the right there, the ikigai. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, and if you have, excuse me, but I'll just briefly explain it. It's a Japanese expression which means reason for being. And for me, it's been quite profound, because I realized that at the age of 33 or whatever I was when I got the job at Curtin, that I found my reason for being in the work that I did there, and that was running leadership programs, which were based on social change model of leadership, which for me was just, it really combined my passion of youth development with my mission, which was to make positive change in the world, with my profession and vocation. So it's a beautiful coming together of everything that was important in my professional life, and it was very fulfilling work. And I ran leadership programs at Curtin for over 5 years, and I developed over 300 young leaders from university and high schools, and it was wonderful work. But then I ended up having kids, as we do, and so 2 years ago I moved to Adelaide to reconnect with family roots and have my second child, a daughter, Sophia, and found it really hard when I needed to return to work. I just couldn't find work that was meaningful, and I didn't want just any old job after I'd had such profound work at Curtin. So at the end of last year, I took a massive leap of faith and I set up my own business called Spire Coaching, developing leaders for a better world. That is my catchphrase. No small feat, really. I've got a big mission but might as well be aspirational. That's what I'm trying to teach the teens, is to aim, dream big. And so that is my kind of catchphrase there. And I have not stopped running since last year, setting up programs. I've set up 2 programs. One is called Skills for Success, and that is sort of entry-level youth coaching program for tweens and teens who want to learn about themselves and their strengths, their goals, their career aspirations and things like that. And it did really well. I started that in April, just after COVID happened, would you believe, and got such great feedback that I actually got signed up with Adelaide University, and they signed up 50 of their Aboriginal high-performing high school students, which was a great achievement and experience as well. And then I also created another program, which I actually just started last week, would you believe, called the Inspiring Teens. And that is a 3-month youth leadership program that is for 13 to 17-year-olds. And it's an intensive project-based program where teens have to solve problems for local nonprofit organisations. So they're the sort of 2 programs that I run. Now, I would like to start with what we're doing today. So I just wanted to check if everyone's got a pen and paper, because sometimes you might want to take some notes about what you're learning. And as I mentioned, it will be an interactive session and I will need volunteers. So please don't get shy when I need a volunteer, because we don't want to waste time. Hopefully we'll be done by 8:30. I will be working towards that time. All right, so the 3 things that we're going to learn about are the strengths-based active listening, solutions-focused problem solving, and goal coaching. And they're activities that I actually teach my students in my programs. Now, we were talking a little bit about how the young people at the moment are feeling a bit, I think, they're just feeling a bit out of control. There's so much going on that's out of their control. And so they are trying to gain a sense of control in their own world, which means with mum and dad, they are wanting to really stand their ground and assert control, because so much is outside of their control. And according to a paper written recently by the child psychologist Dr. Colson, they said that motivated, self-disciplined and happy teens have a strong sense of control over their lives. That agency or sense of independence is one of the most important contributing factors to success and happiness. The belief that they can influence their own lives leads to better health and longevity, higher emotional well-being, improved academic performance, greater motivation, lower stress, and even lower use of drugs and alcohol. So it's absolutely critical. And the other thing is, adolescence is a time when friendship is the primary driver in their lives, as you would all probably know. And the hormonal changes during puberty enhance social dynamics, making them highly attuned to social status. Friends are like oxygen to teens. And so for teens right now, they need independence and social connections. And that's probably where you're starting to realize how hard things are, because it looks like they're addicted to the Snapchats and the TikToks and all these kinds of social media. But that's just their way of like connecting with each other and being human at that age. It's all they really want. That's what they crave for. It's all they know. I've got a 13, I don't actually have teenagers myself. I've got young ones, as I mentioned, but I've got a 13-year-old niece, and she said to me the other day, Genevieve, you can't say that I'm addicted to my devices. It's a part of me. And she really feels like that. She feels like it's an extension of her way to be social with her friends. And it's, you know, it's something that's completely bizarre for us in this generation to think of. Like, I know I used to spend 6 or 7 hours on the phone with my friends on the phone, but that's not sort of like every moment of every day sort of snapping photos of corners of their faces or whatever they're doing. It's, you know, it's bizarre sort of trends that are happening at the moment, but it's just them connecting and it's them asserting with the independence. That's them, you know, they need that in terms of their development. So I want to ask you all, you know, if you'd like to unmute yourselves, what are some ways that you can let your teens have control? Just unmute yourself and go for it. Anybody? What are some compromises that you're making with your teens?
I know mine's a little bit younger, but I give him as much choices as I can with the shopping, the food, all that sort of thing, just to help him sort of have some control over his life.
His food, what he's eating?
Yeah, that sort of thing, yep. What we do at the weekends, we sort of have a chat together about what we're going to do, give him some opportunity for choice socially and things like that.
So is that sort of at the forefront of your mind, thinking, how can I let him assert his independence?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a little bit younger, and he's also not that, he's not really looking for his independence quite as much. I mean, it's more me trying to pull it out of him a little bit, actually. He's a little bit different to probably most of the other children that everyone's talking about. He's not sort of raring to go. It's a little bit more me trying to sort of encourage and bring him along. So, yeah, just sort of bring, you know, saying that we're a bit of a team and what are we going to do and how we're going to do it, and just involving him in a lot of those decisions as best I can.
Nice. Anyone else like to share?
I just try and put time limits on the amount of time that my daughter's on the phone. Plus her optometrist has also said that she has to limit it to like half an hour sessions at a time, otherwise it's too damaging for her eyesight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but how can you let her have control over that? So instead of you making the rules, this is what I want you to start thinking about, is how can they be the ones creating rules for themselves? Or they won't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so just put that as a question. How can you let them, it's almost like you want to put it back on them. get them to, provide the facts, your eyes are going to get damaged. So asking her, what can you do to prevent that? And then get her to set the rules, kind of thing.
She a lot of the time she just takes advantage of the situation and just goes on and on a lot longer, that kind of thing.
So yeah, making her aware of consequences, things like that.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to share how you let them have control? Yes.
I would like to share my experience that although I struggle with this technology and mobile phone with him, sometimes I join in. Sometimes if I can't beat him, I join him. Like, okay, let's do TikTok together. So he's in control. And the way, like with his clothing, okay, let's go shopping together rather than, spending too much time on the computer or playing games. Okay, let's do shopping together and you get to pick what clothes you want to wear. It's just taking that out and taking his, attention out of that media at the moment or anything.
Yeah.
But still struggle with the time limit. Like, even though I had the schedule, say, okay, time up. By lunchtime, you need to come down because it's upstairs, his room. You need to come down and make lunch with me. But then, but Mom, you told me what time. And I said, okay, make a schedule for you so you're in control. And then we can reevaluate it. But at the moment, still struggling that, listening and, follow up. And, he's a teenager and he's just beginning to, like what you're saying, gaining control. But then, who's the boss now? Because I should be the boss because I struggle with it.
But you can still set consequences. So letting him have control, but then if it gets to a certain point, then having the consequence at the end so that he knows the boundaries, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I confiscate everything and said, "Oh, you're the worst mom," and start the fight.
Yes, then you get into all of that. Yeah. All right. So these are kinds of things where talking about locus of control, where there's the internal locus of control. This is what we want to develop in the youth, okay? So internal is I make things happen. I can determine my future. Look what I can do. So we want to nurture that. And then the external locus of control is where we say, this is what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. And then they think, oh, I've got no choice over my future. I can't do anything. Why bother? And then they feel sorry for themselves and pity themselves. And that can be the negative consequence. So we want them to build up that internal locus of control that they can make things happen, not that things are done for them and to them. And so 3 areas that we can look at of helping them develop is their mindset. And this is also important for you as the parents too, is your mindset. You can control your mindset as well, communication and behavior. Now, I'm not a psychologist, as I explained before, but I have studied coaching and I have studied I'm a master neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. And they talk a lot about how to create positive changes in our mindset. It's super powerful. If anyone is looking at sort of a fast-track way to understand how to create positive change in themselves and also for their others around them, including your family, NLP or neuro-linguistic programming can actually teach you the language of your mind, is how to control the language of your mind. And it's not psychology. It's saying, right, okay, we have experiences that happen to us. We have beliefs that we form, and those beliefs then determine our behavior. And so we want to create a positive mindset so that the young people can start to have a positive behavior. And so this is what we're going to be talking about today in some of the activities that we run, is how to generate that positive mindset. Let me just quickly check my notes. So yeah, with communication, how can you become a better communicator? How can you become a better listener? How can you become a better, making sure that your message is getting heard, not by speaking louder or yelling, but changing your methods of communication to make sure that the message is getting through. And that's one of the activities that we are going to do today is strengths-based listening, which is super powerful. And as I was mentioning, our behavior is a result of our beliefs and our experiences that happen to us. And often we're on autopilot. We often just react based on maybe how our parents treated us, or we react how we never want, we do the opposite of what they would have done. But we act unconsciously oftentimes, especially when it's habit or routine. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is a bit of self-reflection, and taking a moment to step outside the situation that you might be in, because you might be in a sort of repetitive cycle of conflict or miscommunication. And so it's like, right, take a step out of that situation and imagine yourself looking down on the situation, whether you're like looking down like a bird, or like a wise older person, for example, and have a different angle of what that situation could be looking like, and that can sometimes help you to go, okay, I might be just as equally to blame in this particular conflict, for example, because maybe I'm quick to react, or because I have a fear of failure, I'm extra pushy for them to succeed, or I have a fear of not being good enough, so I make them, I'm over the top with giving them too much, like, you're the best, you're wonderful, you're amazing, and giving almost, so sometimes we can be just as equally a part of what happens within them. And so I'm just asking you to start challenging yourself and your own beliefs that you might be transmitting onto them, which can backfire. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but it's just something for you to consider. So how can you be the change, basically? Because that is what you are in control of. You're not always in control of them, but you're in control of yourself. So creating a different pattern might create a different behaviour in your child as well. A lot of people are often confused by what is a coach. They're like, what do you do, Jen? What is a coach? And the best way to describe it is, or the main difference between sort of, say, counselling, is that a coach looks at what's going forward, what are the future outcomes, and how to move forward. Whereas counselling is often like, okay, what are the problems of the past? What's happened? Why has that happened? And then trying to deal with that. Whereas I'm certainly not a trained counsellor, so I am very ethical with that. And with my young people, if there's any sort of real issues around anxiety or mental health issues, I'm not trained in that, so I always sort of let them know, hey, look, that's not something I'm trained in, but I can, refer you to a trained person if need be. But within coaching, it's like, right, how do we get from A to B? So if we're at A now, what is B? Is B an improvement in motivation? Is it in improvement in communication? Is it having goals for the future? What do they want their future to look like? That's where I am super passionate about, is helping young people sort of move forward and get to where they want to be, and dreaming big and thinking about what do they want in their futures, and stretching them and challenging them to do so. All right, so let's get into an activity. I need a volunteer, please. Who would like to be my first? Unmute yourself and say me. Al, your hand's up. I can see you. I can't hear you though. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so we are going to do our first activity, and this is called strengths-based active listening. And this is a real little beauty, especially for young people. So obviously listening is a skill that I think most of the human race needs to improve upon. I know I'm super guilty of it, getting distracted when people are listening, talking, or, especially if you're busy and you've got lots of things going on. But when someone is a good listener and they really give you their whole attention and they look you in the eye and they don't speak to tell you exactly what they think and all of that, if they're just listening to you and being really present, it's a gift. Don't you think it's a gift? And so I'm going to teach you something where it's an even bigger gift, because you get double the gifts. You get the gift of having someone to listen, but you also get the gift of something else, which will all become apparent in a moment. So Al, please tell me something that you're proud of, an achievement that you're proud of, and please tell me the story of how you accomplished that.
Okay, it's going back a little while, if that's okay. No, not because I haven't done anything I'm proud of since, but I was proud of this.
Go for it.
So when I was a student at university, I chose to go to France to do part of my degree there. So I was doing a medical degree, and I went to do 4 months in France, and I actually only had GCSE French, which I don't know how that equates to an Australian qualification, but it's not very high level, basically. I could have not done it, and I was very apprehensive doing it, and it was a brilliant opportunity, and I'm really glad I did, and I'm pleased that I pushed myself to do it.
Incredible. And I'm just going to ask a couple of questions just to better understand. So you went to France to do what, a unit in your medical degree or something?
Yeah.
And it was all in French, was it?
Yeah.
Wow. And your level of French was actually quite basic.
It was quite basic, and I did brush up obviously before I went over there, and I'd learned lots of medical phrases and things, but what I hadn't accounted for was that once I'd asked my question in French, that I had to understand the answer. So obviously this was only as a student. It wasn't, I wouldn't have been able to do it if I was working as a doctor in that situation. But but it was a very steep learning curve, but very rewarding.
Absolutely amazing. And how long between when you decided to do that and then the actual traveling there to go, how long was that process?
It probably took about 6 months to set up, I think.
And how did you get accepted into that? Did you have to apply? And
yeah, it was through something called the Erasmus scheme, so it was open to anybody that wanted to apply for it. I just think that there weren't a huge number of people that wanted to do it. But I just love France, and it's obviously near England. So it seemed like a lovely opportunity to live there for a little while and just enjoy the French culture.
Amazing. Okay, so what I'm just going to sort of, while I'm talking to you, I'm also sharing with everyone what I'm thinking. So what I'm trying to ascertain is the amount of effort that endeavor required, and pre-planning, and you set a massive goal for yourself. It was a big, steep, it was a very, you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. So these are all the things that I'm trying to think of while you're speaking, because it's, too often we will listen to someone say something like that, and you say, wow, that's amazing. Did you see what was on the TV last night?
Mm-hmm.
And people just have these really short attention spans, and it just dilutes the moment. And so what this activity does is hold space for the person that's explaining what they've just achieved, which is, phenomenal. But then what I'm going to say back to you, Al, is this. So I say, wow, Al, that is incredible. That sounds like an amazing achievement. I can't imagine how much effort and planning that took to get to that point. 6 months of planning, and for you to go there with only a basic level of French, that's taking a big leap of faith, and took a lot of courage and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And what commitment and perseverance, and obviously you like to challenge yourself, and I bet that felt fantastic at the end, and I bet all your friends were super impressed when you went over and lived in France for however long it was, and what a beautiful memory for you to remember and cherish, and all the all the planning and everything. That was all worth it, and I bet it sort of was a stepping stone for you to keep doing that to yourself. Did you sort of enjoy trying to do that onwards and upwards, going from there? Did you continue to follow that kind of challenging path?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, then I got a little bit taken up once I qualified, so I was a bit UK based for some time. But no, that is lovely. Actually, you're right, because we do very often just respond, don't we, without actually showing that we've understood really anything about what the person is saying. Whereas actually, how you've just responded there makes me feel that you really valued what I had just told you. It does feel different being on the receiving end.
Bingo! It's magic, and that's what teens, we need to teach this to young people. I just did this with my group last week. I had 14 teenagers in this leadership program, and we all took it in turns to do this with one another, and it's such a confidence boost for them, because they've all done things they're proud of, whether it's get a good grade in a report card or whatever, but very seldom do people acknowledge the effort that goes into that. They just look at the outcome, and that's what we want to do, is rewarding and acknowledging and giving light to the effort that goes into it, because that's what we want to be pushing and encouraging them to keep going with difficult endeavors in all their life, and to continually be pushing themselves outside of their little comfort zones, because that's where the achievement comes from. That's where the sense of pride and sense of confidence and all these other things start to grow in them. And it's not about ego. We're not trying to oh, you're so amazing, you're so fantastic. It's not about that. It's, wow, that took perseverance, that took commitment. Those are the grit, the resilience that we want to be building in our young people. So thank you for being my
thank you
my guinea pig. But yeah, if everyone can sort of see what I did there, which was asking. It's a simple process. Asking the person to, of course, your kids' achievements, but to say to them, hey, tell me the process. How did you do that? And then getting them to explain in detail, because people are so brief, they're so humble, they don't want to say, well, like for me, when this activity was first done on me, I told them how I've been to Everest Base Camp, and how I set myself this lofty goal. I was super unfit at the time, I was very overweight, and I just went, bugger it, I am not going to be the last person on the trail, holding the group up. Like, it just was not going to happen. And it motivated me to really exercise and get fit. And every week I was like walking kilometers and kilometers and stairs, but no one ever said to me, wow, Genevieve, congratulations, I can see the amount of effort you put in to get there. They just went, wow, you went to Everest Base Camp, that's amazing. And that's all they, and it's the tip of the iceberg, basically. So has anyone got any questions about that activity, or any responses or comments on it? Nope. Feel free to unmute yourself and just say anything that you would like about that. Nope. Okay. Well, I'm going to go on to the next activity. So the next one, I do need another volunteer, please. Unmute yourself, say me, me, me. Don't be shy, ladies, come on. Otherwise, I'm just going to randomly pick you. Lisa, there you go. She's like, oh, shit.
Okay, let's try. Yes, that was me. That's what I said.
I like being with all ladies. I just start swearing and being myself. I hope you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so the next activity we're going to do is solutions-focused problem solving. So this is not, brain surgery or anything really difficult, but it's just a different way of helping our young people to problem solve things, because often they're going to have problems, as we all do, and well, I'll talk about it after we do the activity. So, Lisa, can you please tell me, and you don't need to go into a lot of detail, but maybe, over a minute or 2 minutes, explain a problem that you're dealing with at the moment.
It's difficult to isolate one problem. It's kind of everything is a problem and nothing is a problem. So I think it's all what I think is I'm going through is quite normal, I think, or at least common, if not normal. But a child who is trying to establish his independence by disobeying the rules purposefully and disrespecting the authority. Not anything nasty or sinister. The first answer is always no, and then he just kind of feels bad about backing out and doing the right thing. So he just wants to be given more freedom in terms of using technology and making decisions and going out. And he's 16, so that's okay. I think that's about it.
So now, how long has this been happening?
Maybe about 6 months, 12 to 6, more like 6 months, I'd say.
This is a funny one. What caused the problem?
It is a funny one. I am not so sure. But I'm pretty sure that whatever advice or recommendation I make, no is the first word I get in response, and usually he'll do the opposite. Like if I say that you need to wash your face because he has a bit of acne, use the cleanser. No. Or it's really important to do this. No. So it's just. I think he thinks that that's him standing his ground and doing the right thing and being independent, but in fact, it's just, I think, rude. I don't know.
I'm sure it's incredibly infuriating for you.
A little bit, yeah.
So you've got to start playing a different game, perhaps.
Yes. So I think that I'm probably not finding the right approach, which is why I'm here.
Welcome. So let's, I've just got some more questions. How serious is this out of 10?
7.
How often does it happen?
With the different scale of things. So we're talking about minor things. I mean, he goes to school and he does do big things that need to be done, are done just without any pleasure or initiative. But small things, it's pretty much 90% of the time is a no.
Wow. And how does it make you feel?
Like a failure.
Which you're not.
No.
What other problems does it cause for you?
Well, obviously it's I think we both get angry, and I think that then I tend to dwell on things as well. It's difficult to, let go sometimes. So it kind of, you carry it through, and the mood is affected, and the sleep is affected, and it's not, it's not ideal. It's not how it used to be. That's how I know this is not right.
Yes. So, with regards to the questions that I've just asked, what can you notice about what I've just been doing?
I think you're trying to help me understand where the problem is originating from, what's causing the problem. And I think I'm not sure. Am I
Yes.
Answering the question?
Yes, and it's also it's focusing on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to start asking you some questions that might help, hopefully, get some traction moving out of the problem. So, what would it look like if it was solved?
I think it would be a perfect world.
So describe it, though.
We would always be in agreement. There'll be only hugs and kisses all day long, and it's going to be wonderful mummy and son time together, and it will be, only good, positive things.
And what would be happening and not be happening?
What do you mean? I don't think I understand the question.
In your, if the world was, if it was solved, this issue, what would be happening, and then what would not be happening if things were solved?
Yes, I think that there would be no conflict and no anger, and that the communication, I think, would be better, and there would not be hard feelings. I guess there wouldn't be hurt. Am I answering the question?
Oh, this is just all about you. There is no right or wrong.
Sure,
there is literally, it's just, I'm asking a question and seeing what comes up, okay? Because
sure.
as a coach, I'm just here to sort of help you start to explore things, and then it's up to, we never know where it's going to end up. Sometimes it can open a whole can of worms, which, good thing or bad thing, but hopefully it will shift things for you, because you'll start to see things from a different angle. I want to be like a mirror. I'm sort of holding up a mirror to you. I'll ask questions, and then it's up to you to work out what that means and what would be helpful and what wouldn't be helpful. Okay, so it's not for me to decide that. That's up for you to decide if it's helpful or not. How would you feel if it was solved out of 10?
10.
How close to solving the problem out of 10 are you?
6 or 7. Between 5 and 7.
What have you done that has worked before?
I tried to understand why not. I've recently started to sort of ask questions. Why do you feel like this, and what makes you say that, and why would you do it that way and not the other way? And then finding that's helping, because he's saying I'm not listening, so I can, when he did the previous activity, I understood where I'm not listening. Because obviously I always know better, so I jump in with really good advice, which is really bad.
This is why we're doing this, okay?
Yeah.
So the why is helping, you said.
Yes.
And are there times when that doesn't occur?
Sure. Because when sometimes he'd say, "Oh, because I feel like it."
Yeah.
So that's pretty useless.
But think about also the times when it's worked, maybe the energy between you, you know, maybe it's when you're both calm or you've just both enjoyed something together, or, you know, think of those kinds of elements as well, because it's complex. It's not, there might be, you know, it might be a better time to bring things up versus, you know, when he's annoyed or he's tired or whatever.
He's always annoyed. He's 16. He's 16. He's annoyed a lot. But yes, I think timing is very important. I definitely think it makes a difference as to whether he's tired, or if it's what time of the day it is, if it's, you know, before school, after school, later in the day. Definitely, I think I should be choosing my time wisely.
Yep. So thinking about the time when it did work well, try to remember what were the elements that went into that. You know, what time of day was it? What had just happened? Had he just eaten? You know, had he just been? Had you given him something he wanted before that? You know, those kinds of elements.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe if he has more of what he thinks he needs, which is, you know, that independence and things, he might be more willing to open up.
All right.
And what are you doing that does not work that you could stop?
I could stop nagging. I could stop giving advice. I can only give advice when I'm asked, I think, maybe, but I don't think that will ever happen. Does it happen?
I think as parents, we are so, you know, used to, especially with young kids, we're so used to being that person that's got all the answers and knows what's right and so now you guys are transitioning into this new world of different beasts. You've got to transition yourselves and and starting to treat them as the expert. Now, that is one thing that I loved in my coach training, which was all about seeing the other as the expert. So right now with this problem, for example, you are the expert. I'm not the expert. I've got ideas and things that I've worked with before, but I'm not the expert. You're the expert of the problem. That's your problem, that you're the expert. And so treating your young people as the experts will actually make them go, oh, mum does respect me. Mum does listen to me. What skills and strengths do you need to use?
I need to be patient, and the listening could be improved on. Understanding, maybe try not to judge, because I think we can oftentimes get quite judgmental about their, you know, because teenage children do stupid things. Let's face it.
Yes, and so so then holding the judgment,
or at least not show it.
Yes, I had to talk to my students about that last week, which was we don't always know the whole picture. We might think we do, but we don't. So we have to give them benefit of the doubt kind of thing. And judgment is something that we are just, it's part of our nature to just judge and, so.
Yeah.
Who can help you with this?
My parents.
Your parents?
They always have some word of wisdom. Mainly, yes. They are they always have good, insightful advice.
And what steps can you start to try now?
Just try to initiate more conversation, I think. Because I think sometimes when you're annoyed, you just rather not, like, I just don't want this. And I think that's, I need to get over that and sort of try and talk regardless.
Thank you so much for sharing with everyone. This is, very personal stuff, and it's very close to the heart, and it's raw, and it's, I can see that it's you're feeling a lot of pain, and I can imagine it's really, really difficult. But can you notice the difference between the two set of questions that I asked?
About the problem and about the solution? Yes. What's the problem and how do we solve it? How do we do better?
Because oftentimes we can get stuck in the problem. We can go over and over and like, oh, what happened, and who said what, and what happened, and blah blah blah, and we don't move forward with it. And so with young people, especially the ones I'm working with, I'm always saying, what can you do about it? I put it back on them, and I say, what can you do that could be better? Who else can help you with this problem? Have you had an example of when that's worked for you in the past that you could, because we forget, we might have had the perfect answer to the problem, but we just forget because life is so busy and we get clouded with emotions and things. But sometimes just being that mirror to the child or to the kid and holding. That's how I'm a visual person, so I always I think like that. You can think however you like, but I always like to imagine I'm holding up a mirror and I'm letting them bounce off. I ask the questions and they answer. It's on them. The onus is on them to come up with their own solutions to problems, and that's when they actually do. They all of a sudden are empowered to solve the problem themselves, and they go, "This is cool. This is actually really cool." And that's what all my teens in the Inspiring Teens program, they have to solve the problems on their own. We're not there to solve the problem. They have to solve it. So that's a technique that I think could be very useful, Lisa, to try and start putting it back on your kid and saying, right, buddy, you've got to learn how to be an adult, because in a couple of years you're going to be an adult. So what are you going to do about this? And how can I support you in that? Rather than you be the solution, you're the one helping him find the solution. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, I can't believe it's 8:30. Like, where the hell did the time go? I've been talking way too much. I'm sorry about that. I was like, I'm going to be right on time tonight. Maybe not. Now, if anyone needs to go, please go. And if you'd like to stay on, I can keep on going. I'm even happy to just keep talking to myself if I need to, and you guys can watch the catch up later if you need to go. But otherwise, I'll move on to the next third one, which is the goal coaching. So one last volunteer, please. Ellie, do you want to be a volunteer? Are you there? Has she gone? Inez, do you want to be a volunteer?
Okay then.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so let me know, what is a goal that you have? It could be anything from, losing weight or stopping smoking or whatever they are, any goals that you've got going on in your life. Something
for myself?
Yeah, for you. Anything you want to improve upon, or even from what you've just learned tonight, something that you want to start incorporating into your mothering journey?
Yes.
Okay, what is it? Go on.
Yeah, how to communicate better with my daughter.
Okay, so that's a goal, right?
Yeah.
So now we want to think about, what are the options? What are the options with your goal? So your goal is to communicate better. So what options do you have?
Well, I don't want to be a nag bag and, just be nagging at her to do stuff. it's, yeah. I could ask her what she wants, but quite often I don't get much of a response either. So it makes it difficult sometimes.
With options, you know, try to think outside the square. Try to think of what you haven't been doing. Try and think about maybe any other alternatives that, even if they sound a bit crazy. Anything you've learnt tonight, anything that you're hearing from other mums or your friends or someone that you know does, or are you stuck thinking of things,
yeah,
or you don't want to, don't feel comfortable to share?
I'm stuck thinking of things. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to help brainstorm with you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you want to be communicating better with your teen. And so you said you don't want to be a nag bag. Have you tried to work with her and create something together?
Sometimes.
Because this goal kind of coaching that we're doing right now is something you could do with her.
Yeah.
And you could say, right, what's the goal? And then the goal could be something that you both agree on together. And then you go, now and you just put it on her. What are the options? What are the options to achieve that? And so you create it together. And so they've got buy-in and responsibility and ownership. You've got to give them ownership as well. And hopefully it might, you might start with a small goal and you might get bigger and bigger or whatever. You can break them down. So what's one goal that you guys could work towards? Were you saying before that your kid didn't want to go to school?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big one, right?
Okay, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the goal is that she needs to be educated. So that's a kind of a non-negotiable. That's like a legal requirement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can put that on a big piece of butcher's paper or something and go, right, sweetheart, we need to work this out together because I don't have all the answers and we need to do this together because the goal is to get you educated, if it may be, I don't know what's going on, and I'm not making any assumptions. I'm just throwing things out there. But maybe it's that she's feeling disengaged. Maybe she's getting bullied. Maybe she's got a horrible teacher. Maybe she's feeling shy. Maybe. It could be 1,000 things going on for her right now.
Yeah.
So that's when you're going to go say, okay. I don't know if she feels open enough to tell you those things, but you've got to try and find out or work out how to achieve that goal. So she might want to be homeschooled. She might want to go to an alternative school. She might want to, I don't know. So that's what you're going to have to work out with her and go, right, sweetheart, we need to work on this together. Because that's what I would do. Any other mums got any advice there? That's a big one right there, and that's the first thing that comes to mind is getting her. It's what we're trying to talk about is that sense of control, ownership, letting her feel like she's part of the solution. Okay, so that's one of the options. One of the options is inviting her. Another option could be maybe going and seeing a counsellor together or something, or something like that. Could be
we've tried homeschooling at home with the earlier shutdown, and that wasn't very successful.
Bugger.
Yeah.
But there are other there's other ways of homeschooling, like there's other kind of tutors, and
Yeah.
This is the thing. You've got to move into solutions mode. So what else? And this is what that goal coaching is, okay, guys? We are doing options right now. So what else? And you kind of make a big list. You don't have to make the decision, but it's just making a list of all of the possible options, and then we take action. So then we'll go, okay, which one are we going to go with?
Right.
And action, right? So now for you, Inez, what action are you going to take from this?
Make a list of different suggestions. But
do it with her. That's my suggestion is I would be like, right, love, here we go. We've got the butcher's paper out. Let's do this together. We've got a big problem to solve together. What are the options? And then she'll go, and hear what she's got to say and get her to have a buy-in. And then you might go, well, homeschooling's an option. And so you write it down. And if she's absolutely not coming up with anything, then, you might need to, be really creative in your problem solving here. Because it might be something else going on.
Because I'm not getting a lot of response a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe, I'm sorry to say, you could be a problem. I don't know if you are. I'm just saying could be. Maybe something with maybe a dynamic has shifted between you two, right? And just a phase that she's like, no, mummy doesn't know what the best thing is. And I know maybe it needs to be dad, or maybe it needs to be an auntie, or maybe it needs to be her mentor or somebody else that she trusts. Just a suggestion, okay? But kids are complex and they're not good communicators, and that's why we've got to teach them, and we've got to be clever at how we get in there. But they're just some ideas for you, okay? So then we go action. What action are you going to take?
Yeah, ask my daughter what she wants to do. Okay. I could ask some other people what they think would be a good idea, like ask my sister or ask another friend, or
people that know you intimately, and you're not alone. Just get as much support as you can, and then look at like how homeschool works, or what costs involved and all that sort of stuff. Does she need to go to a different school or things like that? Exactly. Does she need to go back to, I don't know, grade 6? Exactly. Now you're getting somewhere. Can you see? So you're now not stuck in the problem. Now you're stuck in, well, not stuck, but you're moving into solutions, and you're starting to be more creative with your problem solving. And that is where I want you to be, and I want you to be helping her with as well. Right. So it's moving you through so that you go, okay, actually there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. There is options and possibilities. That's what we want them to be seeing. And then we get them to like knuckle down on something, because it's all very good to go, yes, we could do this and could do that. But then you actually have to say, now, what are you going to do now? So what action are you going to take? So that's like me going, right, I become your accountability partner, Inez. So I'll be like, right, so next week if I call you, what will you have done by next week?
Yeah.
And that means it's on them. It's always back on them, right? I'm not going to do the work. I'm just checking in to make sure you've done the work. And you're the one that's going to set the date. So I might say, when should I call you? When should we have solved this problem? Or you should have solved this problem. So then you might be like, well, I need a week and or 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah. And then I say likelihood. How likely are you to act on this particular issue, this goal?
Yeah, very. Because it's pressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what can stop you?
Other things that are happening at the moment, like corona, issues with my parents that I'm trying to sort out at the moment as well. Yeah.
So then they become new goals, okay? You've got to start segmenting your goals and going, right, that's one, got to keep going on that. What's the next one? What are the options on the next one? Blah, 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 blah. And off you go again. And, you know, you might even benefit yourself from having a coach. I'm not saying myself because I'm more of a youth coach, but it could be someone like me that is a qualified coach that can help you with all this, okay? Because obviously you've got a lot going on, and all of us do, but sometimes it's just nice to have someone that's not there going, tell me about the problem, let's go on and on about the problem, but what are the solutions? What are you going to do about it? Yeah? Is that helpful?
Yes, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, guys, I've just got a couple of things on that slide. What goal you want to focus on this week? How important is that goal to you? What difference could it make if it was achieved? Do you believe you can achieve it? So they're just some extra kind of add-in questions that you can, and then you can do that with your teen, and it can be, what's the goal? Okay, it might be that they want to improve their grades at school, or it might be that they want to make more friends, or they want to get into the soccer team, or I don't know what it is, but they might have, you know, finding out what your kids are passionate about and what they want to start working on in their future is so, this is what I love. I get so excited about that, you know. I just, that's my kind of, my nerdy place is helping young people find out what they want and then going, right, how are we making a plan to get there? Okay, guys, so that's the main 3 steps. I always do this with my students. What, so what, now what? So in the chat box, I would like you to please write, what have you just learned? So what is, why is that important? And now what are you going to do about it? And it's just a useful way to reflect on what you're learning. So if you please write that in the little chat box. I have learnt that empowering my son is empowering my motherhood, so now we both win. Beautiful, Michelle. That is super lovely. Break it down into smaller parts, expand on each one. So break you mean the big parts, the big problems kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yes, break them down, definitely, because it can be overwhelming if you just have this big problem. So breaking it down and then going, right, what's part A, let's deal with that, part B, etc. That's very, very useful. Communication, wording things differently can motivate and show you appreciate their efforts, definitely. So don't forget about the strengths-based listening, because that is going to make their hearts sing. They already know that mummy loves them, but then you can also teach this to other people around you, like your sisters or your mums or whatever, and get other people to be doing, and your husbands and whoever else is in your kind of family circle, because it can really build people's esteem up, and that's what we want to be doing, building up their esteem whilst also letting them have some control over some things, and helping them to create goals and things for the future, to achieve for the future, because that's where they get motivated for school. Like Inez, for you, that could be something also that to consider is she's not wanting to go to school right now. So trying to tap into, because this is what I used to do with some of my students in the Skills for Success program, is going, okay, what do you want to be? They might want to be a vet. And it's like, okay, you want to be a vet. How did you know that a vet needs to have a university degree? Oh, okay. How do you get into university? Well, you actually need to have, gotten certain grades at school, or gone to TAFE, or, and going backwards that way, all of a sudden they go, oh, actually school is relevant for what I want to achieve in my future. And that can be a good motivating tool as well. Now, I just wanted to quickly tell you about my Skills for Success program, which is running in 2.5 weeks. And this is something that might be useful for some of your teens. Michelle, it might be nice for your boy to have something to do other than, getting his mind off things. It might be a positive thing for him at the moment. So just have a look at this. This boy up in the top left corner here, he is gorgeous, and he's on the autism spectrum, but he's a high functioning one, and he really loved the program because all of a sudden he was in a virtual setting with, like it was online Zoom, just like this, but in a small group, so like 10 students, and he was able to start looking at his career goals and his strengths and all these kinds of things that he never really gets to do, and he really thrived in this program. So I'll send you all information about it, because it's usually $250, but I've got a big special on at the moment, $199 for the early bird special, but I'm also offering a 20% discount on that as well. So I think it's only like $179 or something at the moment, which is a major discount, and that's for 10 hours of coaching. And so it's 7 Saturday afternoons, starting on the 8th of August. And it's run by myself, and we look at these different modules from the Life Business Consultancy. They've set up a program called Coaching Young People for Success, which I'm licensed to run their program, and it's just a phenomenal program, and it's had great traction with the students, and they all say the same thing, like, oh, I feel more confident, I feel more motivated towards my school, now I know what I want to do in my future, I know my personality type, and they've just got all these wonderful things to say. It really boosts them up and gets them more motivated for school, which is something that might help you as well, Inez. I'm not sure. She might be needing, maybe she might need to wait for this, but you can always look at this as something in the meantime as well. I don't know. So this is another option for you to consider as well. But it is nice for young people to look at themselves and look at, focus on themselves, and have someone like myself to go, what else are you going to do in your life? How can you be the best version of yourself? It's really, really fun for them. Any questions, guys, before we start to wrap things up? Any questions about anything? Okay, well, feel free to unmute. I just wanted to let you know, as a bonus for coming on today, I've got this free ebook. So I'll send you all a copy of that with my the email that I send out to everyone, which will have a copy of the tonight's webinar, and also this free ebook. And it's my ultimate guide to connect with your teen that I wrote to myself. So that's also a lovely resource for you guys as well. So if you've got any other comments or questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, thank you for joining, and good luck with your young people, and I'll let you know when the next webinar is. Feel free to unmute yourself and say goodbye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, Inez. I'll be thinking of you.
Righto.
You'll have to let me know what happens next. I'm going to be keen to hear what you come up with there.
Righto, thank you.
Good luck, my dear.
Okay.
Thanks, Genevieve.
You're welcome, Michelle.
if you would like to email me with the information, I'll be interested to keep in touch. And yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I can just feel for your boy so much right now, you know, your whole family, but he's such a fragile age and stage, so he needs lots of boosting up, I'm sure, at the moment. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lovely to meet you all tonight, and take care. Goodbye.
Bye everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.